Morning. So, yesterday I had the opportunity to work with the youth ministry and do a study with them. And God led me to two different passages, and I wasn't sure which one I should do. It was Joshua and the Battle of Jericho, and the other one was David and Goliath. And I was like, God, like, what am I supposed to teach these youth about? And I was taken back to our church vision, manifested promises this year. Today is January 11th, 2023. I take it to manifested promises, and I was like, manifested promise, which one of those had a manifested promise? So I started reading, and of course you already know both of them. However, kept leaning into Joshua. And so I started reading the book of Joshua, and I have NIV version. And it was Joshua became the leader after Moses died. So they had already, the people knew they were supposed to inherit the land. Didn't get to inherit the land because of their disobedience. And they had to wander. And now they're getting a chance to actually claim what God has spoken for them, God had told them. And how powerful is that, to be able to teach that through a Bible lesson to the youth? And our Joshua 1:6-9, be strong and courageous, because I will lead these people to inherit the land I swore their forefathers to give them. 7, be strong and courageous. Be careful to obey all the laws my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the left or to the right, for you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let this book of laws depart your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. 9, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And I kept reading, and I got to verse 16 when Joshua told them what God had said. And they were on one accord, and they was like, Joshua, wherever you have commanded, we will do. Wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we fully obeyed Moses, we will fully obey you. You can keep reading. But it was just like, I wrote in my Bible, one accord, because they had to, and I talked about in that lesson, the 3 P's. The first P was prepare. They had to prepare, and so they had to be on one accord, but then they had to be on one accord, and then they had to go spy out the land, which the next one, they went to go see about the land, and so that's how they ended up meeting Rahab. And God saw fit to allow them to be protected by her, and her kindness was repaid. God is not a respecter of person. As long as you are obedient, you can be as long as you are obedient to what he's asking you to do. She was a woman of the night, a prostitute, but yet her life was spared and her life was saved because of her kindness, because of her acknowledging and reverencing God, in the sense that she knew, we heard about y'all. We heard about your God. We heard about what he did at that Red Sea. He ain't playing. He ain't playing. God ain't playing. And we know, and the people here, they know, they scared too. Her kindness, her faith in a great God caused her to be blessed, and for God's people, the Israelites, to be mindful of her because of her generosity and stepping outside of what was normal. Because the men of that land tried to pursue and kill those spies. Joshua's spies that he sent to look out that land so they can be prepared, know what to do, and be ready when that manifested promise comes. They could be prepared. First was get to prepare. Then the second P was to get the plan. God, how do you get the plan? Joshua had to seek the Lord. Joshua had to go before the Lord and then be in tune with the Lord so that the Lord could speak back to him to give him word of what to do. Prepare, plan, and in the third P, God blessed them to walk out the path. So they had to prepare. They had to not only mentally, but be on one accord. They had to plan, be in tune with God, seeking him, meditating on the word, staying in line with the word and what God told them to do. But then they had to walk out the path in the sense that we skip over to Joshua 6. And what happened in Joshua 6? They marched around that city. They marched around that city the way God told them to. 6 days. And on that seventh day, they marched around. They blew them horns and they shouted. And them walls came down. And that promise manifested before their eyes because of their faith, because of their community in the sense of them working together, because of their faithfulness. God said, do not be afraid. Have I not commanded you? Can you imagine God saying that in modern times? I know it may not sound like that coming out of God's mouth. But I talk to God. I talk to God the way I talk to a friend. I'd be like, God. Because he wants you to take your cares and your concerns to him. But the most important thing is being obedient. Be strong and courageous, because I will lead you. I will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their forefathers to give them. What has God promised you? What are you wavering on that God has promised you? Be strong. Do not fear. Be strong and courageous, Be careful to obey the laws my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it from the right or the left, that you may be successful where you go. Do not let the book of the law, the word, depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night. Those things which are good, which are lovely, which are kind, which are holy. The word that feeds your soul from what is God having you chew on right now from the word. Are you meditating on anything? If not, you got some explaining to do. He got some explaining to do to you. Have I not commanded you? Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not fear. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. If you put him first, he'll take care of the rest. God will take care of the rest. Put him first. He'll light up your path. His rod and staff will comfort you and will guide you. He'll guide you on where you need to go, what you need to do. You cannot do it in your own strength. He knows the plan. God knows what's best for you. So seek him. Even in those times when you're like, I don't want to do it. Obedience is better than sacrifice. To obey is better than you giving out of your own self and not being in line with what God asked you to do. I was listening to a word and it was just like, when you are not obedient, you could be robbing somebody else of their blessing. My mom has a friend and 2 friends. One of them is gone on to glory, but the other one is still on earth. And they'll crack me up because they'll bless my mom with something and then my mom will try to give it back to them. It's just like they'll do that whole tug of war back and forth. And it's just like, don't rob me of my blessing. And then the friend will run off. But it's like, we should be pouring on each other just like that. But when you bless somebody else, because of your obedience, God bless you. Because of your obedience, not just sacrifice, but the obedience in doing what God asked you to do. What is God asking you to do? I got tattooed on my body, a tattoo. A while ago. It is a rose butterfly. May not be able to see it very clearly. But that was and it says believe under it. Those 2 separate tattoos, two separate times. Actually, I think it's like a year or 2 separate from each other. The rose butterfly, to remind me I'm a flower unfolding. Butterflies, beauty and newness. And these are things to remind me because I yet forget along this walk, but I don't want to forget the promises of God. I don't want to go before God and just as quickly as he blesses me, I didn't forgot. I want to remember God's promises. And I need to be diligent and consistent. And it's not easy, but I'm willing to work at it. And I'm willing to go before God. And when I don't get it right, I'm willing to go back and ask for his strength so that I can walk out what he wants me to do. And sometimes that means you got to put stuff down that you want to do in order to do what he's asking you to do. It ain't always easy. It ain't always easy because we want what we want, but what we want is not always what God wants for us. But the thing is, his perfect plan and his will is always far, far beyond what we consider. I will lead. I'm looking at my wall and I have 3 different scriptures on my wall. Isaiah 43:18 through 19. Isaiah 42:16. Isaiah 55:11. Isaiah 55:6 through 9. Feel free to look up those words. What is God asking you to do? Philippians 4:6 through 9. What is God asking you to do? Don't be afraid. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.